I'm back with another massive tech walkthrough. As a tech reviewer, I'm obviously testing different products nearly every single day. So once in a while, it's nice to do a recap of the things that I'm actually using, both what's sticking and some of the current tech that I'm testing. When I was writing this review, I realized just how much tech there is that makes up a smart home. So the best way to look at this is in 3 different sections or purposes, and those are entertainment, convenience, and safety tech. Starting things off, we're here in my living room. This is where I relax, this is where I write a lot of my content, it's a central hub for our house, and all of these things are anchored on this wall with the LG OLED C3. This is the TV of my dreams. I upgraded to it last year from the Samsung QLED, and the difference is night and day. I found it to be the clearest TV that I've used, really rich blacks, smooth motion, and there's a lot of light in this house, but it still goes bright enough that it always looks sharp no matter when I'm watching or gaming or whatever else. This is a smart TV and it comes with LG's remote with motion controls, and while I like those features, I always pretty much prefer the Apple TV 4K. I like that it's connected to my Apple account, I like that I get the same experience in every room of my house with Apple TVs. Could I do most of the same stuff with the LG TV? Sure. It's just extremely easy and efficient and my personal preference. And when I'm watching TV, I'm usually throwing a backlight against the dark wall, which makes it a lot easier on the eyes and just adds a premium feel to the room overall. That's the Philips Hue strip. It's not the one that does the really crazy gradients based on what's on the screen. Instead, you just choose a color and it stays that color, which I find way less distracting, and it's a quarter of the price. For the audio setup, I'm using the Sonos Beam as my primary soundbar, and then because they were on sale, we also got the 2 Sonos One SLs, which are placed mounted in the back of the room for full surround sound. It's probably a bit of overkill, to be honest. These all sound great. There have been times where the sound messed up and only played at the back, but then a quick force close of an app made it start working again. These sound great together, and overall I've been really happy with them. In the rest of the house, I'm using a few more Sonos One SLs in the kitchen, and then everywhere else in the house we're using HomePod minis, with the exception of one full-sized HomePod, which we usually bring outside, just because it's capable of much fuller sound for the whole area. I'm also using the SwitchBot Hub 2, which you might have noticed on the shelf in my living room. This does a lot of things. It's a temperature and humidity sensor, it doubles as an IR sensor, which means I can control the TV right from my phone. It also connects my SwitchBot products around the house to Apple Home, and that actually brings us to the next point, which is convenience. This has got to be my favorite part of the segment. I will be the first to say that you don't need any of the tech from this section, but if you have the money to spend on it, each of them dramatically increase your quality of life in some way, and that all starts with these SwitchBot curtains. I've talked about these more times than I can count on this channel. Motorized units that sit behind your curtains to make existing curtains smart. You can have one single curtain or pair them together to be dual curtains. Then you can get them to open from your phone or with your voice assistant. You can set a schedule so that they open automatically at certain times of the day. You can do it based on the temperature in the room, the amount of light in the room. The options are kind of endless here. Can you open your curtains manually? Sure, but this is one of those things that's really nice to have, when you first wake up, to that natural lighting as your curtains open. I personally love them. And speaking of waking up, one of the first things that I do in the morning is grab a coffee, and I do that from my Philips LatteGo 5400. This is an automatic espresso maker. I got it because I wanted something with a grinder on top that I could put whole beans in for fresh coffee, but I also wanted something automated that could make both espresso drinks and regular coffees. It has a touch panel to choose from a variety of different drinks. Then you can customize everything from strength to the volume of the coffee. You can even use a milk frother for lattes and other drinks. I immediately found that this thing took my existing beans that I was using in other coffee makers and made them taste even better because of the temperature and the pressure at which it brews. Now, I'm not saying to go out and get this full price. They do go on sale during Black Friday, Prime Day, holidays, so I would recommend waiting for a sale instead of buying this thing at full price. This model also has user profiles, so it remembers your customizations of each drink, but if you don't need that, you can drop down a model or two and save yourself some money there as well. Last in the convenient tech setup is my robot vacuums. I'm primarily using Ecovacs. These were sent over for reviews last year and I'm still using them today. This is the X2 Omni on this floor, which is really modern and sleek looking, which blends in perfectly for our living room. Then we have the T20 Omni in the basement. Both are automatic vacuums which self-empty, but they can also mop, storing both the cleaner and the dirty water tank in the base, which is really awesome for passive cleaning throughout the week on a schedule. My original X2 Omni had a lot of navigation issues, it could barely clean a room, and I spent a lot of time troubleshooting. Eventually support completely replaced the unit, and since then, hasn't had a single issue. So keep that in mind if you're picking up an X2 Omni. They work great now, unlike when they were first launched. Safety tech is really any tech that keeps our house safe. There's definitely some convenience here too, but it's more like security for our house. First up, we've got the SwitchBot lock. I did a full standalone review of this last month on the channel, but I'm still using it now because it's just so convenient. It's a lock that integrates into your existing lock, so you don't need to replace it completely. You can still turn the dial or tap the button to lock or unlock, but then you have the keypad that you can use a smart code on, you can use an NFC card, you can use my personal favorite, a fingerprint scanner, or you can use the SwitchBot app or your Apple Home app with Matter support. The unlimited ways to use this thing are why I kept it around, but the fingerprint is the best I've used so far and I highly recommend it. Next, we've got the indoor pan tilt 3K camera. I've used these things in my house a lot, but the resolution keeps getting better and better each year. So it's a camera that you can use to control to rotate 360 degrees around your house. It can also swivel up and down to capture anything that you need within the environment. This thing also can sense motion. It can use object tracking to follow the subject around. It can also allow for onboard storage with an SD card, which I love. It's great peace of mind for indoor cameras, and I've been using them for 3 to 4 years now. The new 3K resolution looks incredible. I absolutely love this thing. Next up, we've got our smart water sensor from SwitchBot. This is definitely safety tech. Now, I don't know if it's the fact that my neighbors recently had leaks, but I'm very aware that at any point I could have a leak and just not know it. So the SwitchBot water leak detector is my really simple solution here. You just place it under a pipe, and if it senses water, it's going to set off an alarm and alert you through the SwitchBot app, which is really great peace of mind. It's got IP67 rating, it's got 2 years of battery life, and it has accessories which can sense the water level and alert you, which I thought was really cool for like filling a tub or something like that. This is one of those things where it's cheap to buy, but the cost of not having it can be so wildly expensive, which is why I'm a big fan of it. So that's a lot of tech to get through here. I'll leave a massive list of tech in the comments that I'm using. All of this tech is stuff that I've been using for an extended period of time, so if you have questions about them, drop that down in the comments. And if you want to see more about what I'm using, subscribe to the channel. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.